I was just absolutely in shock. I was stunned. We had just gotten a letter not that long ago saying that his parole was preemptively denied. His 3 to 10 year sentence was coming up for parole hearing in September 25th, in fact, this year. And once we heard that his parole was denied because he showed no remorse and refused to participate in any of the programs for abusers, they felt that it was worthy of being declined, and for this to come out of left field is just it's a gut punch. I mean, there's no other way to describe it. And for a legal glitch to come up after all of this is just, what does that say about a woman's worth, a woman's value? Do our lives mean nothing? All of the lives that he damaged, not to mention our children, how we respond to our children and our personal relationships. It has impacted the lives of well over 60 women, the 60 that came public and those of us who did not go public because they were fearful. So here we are, back to square one. I mean, we can't even say, we're going to prosecute him again, because apparently the whole verdict has been literally overturned. I mean, that's outrageous. I'm infuriated.
I hear you. I hear you. I understand, Victoria, and I remember I interviewed you the day after his conviction, and you told us it was the most exciting thing I've heard in a long, long time. I was so thrilled. I mean, for you and so many of the accusers, this was such a long wait for justice at the time. It had been decades that you'd carried around, as you say, the pain of what had happened to you, and so many of the fellow survivors felt that way. And you felt as though finally you'd gotten some justice. And now, just tell me where you were when you heard the news this afternoon and what your immediate thought was.
Well, I was planning on a very nice, quiet day in the garden, and I was just having my second cup of tea. I'm on the West Coast, beautiful day, and I was planning on just being peaceful today. And when I got the call, I was just so shocked. I couldn't even process what I was hearing at first. And of course, as you might imagine, my phone has been blowing up, not just with media, but friends and survivors, and everyone is just outraged. Everyone is stunned. How is this possible? We were suddenly validated, vindicated after all of this. And then, we really were the Kickstarter of the Metoo movement, the Weinstein women coming out. We had the hunting grounds about rape on college campuses. We had Spotlight with the rape in the Catholic Church and us. And then that gave permission, really, validation and encouragement to the Weinstein women, who then saw that we weren't eviscerated or beheaded in the public square, and they had the courage to come out. And one thing after another, the domino effect of women finding their voices and feeling empowered to speak out against their perpetrators. I think for many years, everybody thought that women who were raped or sexually assaulted or incest victims were in the minority. But no, that's not true, Allison. It was because we didn't have a voice and people were afraid to speak out. But because we spoke out and we saw justice with Cosby, everyone else felt empowered and spoke out. And now I think that women who have been molested from childhood on have been proven to be more in the majority. And this is really, a sad statement, about a woman's value, a woman's worth, what is happening right now. And we need to do something about this. I just don't know what. I'm so stunned. My stomach is in knots.
So You just heard Victoria Valentino, and you heard her in the CNN video. And she talks about how disappointed she was when Bill Cosby was released. She talks about a woman's worth. She talks about all these other things, and she talks about how it was a gut punch. And you heard her. Now, before I go any further, I just want to say first and foremost that I think that the Me Too movement is a valid movement. I've always said this, but I think we don't vet some of these stories that these people are telling. And because we don't vet them, we allow a very important movement to be put at risk because we don't vet these stories, right? So, me myself, I'm an African American, and I know what it feels like to be oppressed. Of course, I wasn't around in the slavery days. I wasn't beat with a whip, and I wasn't lynched or anything like that. But I've experienced oppression myself, and we're not even going to get into that. But I say that to say that if you're African American, you know what it's like. If you're an adult, maybe these millennials, maybe they don't know what it's like, right? There are some African Americans who were in privileged situations, and they've never been abused, they've never been oppressed. But I'm just going to oppressed. I'm sorry. I'm just going to say this: if you are African American and you know what it's like to be oppressed, then you cannot turn your back on the Me Too movement. The Me Too movement is valid. It needs to be supported. Women need to be supported. Women need to be protected. Same thing with the LGBTQ movement, right? It's all about equal rights and being treated fairly. Now, with that out of the way, again, I think that nobody is vetting these stories, right? And another thing I'm going to say, another thing I need to get out of the way is that I need women to basically sound off on this video. If you're a woman, you're watching this video, please, please, I'm begging you, leave your comments below and also share this video, because if what I'm about to say, if I'm wrong in what I'm about to say, I need to be corrected. And the only way that I'm going to be corrected is by hearing the voices of women and what they think about the things I'm going to say. Now, before I get too deep into this, I'm just going to say that everything in this video is alleged. These are my allegations. And I'm also going to say that I'm going to be speaking under freedom of speech, my basic constitutional right of freedom of speech. This information is out there, it's newsworthy, and these are public individuals. And I'm not saying these things to attack or harass these people, but I'm just simply commenting on the news, right? So I'm just getting that out there. Everything in this is alleged. It's based off of things I found on the internet. I have no way of proving this information beyond what I find on the internet. Now, with all that said, you just heard Victoria Valentino. You just heard her talk about how disappointed she was. And you heard her talk about how she was assaulted, how she was abused by Bill Cosby. So the first thing, well, you know what? Let me take a step back. So yesterday I was on the channel of the lead attorney, and I put a challenge out there. I'm going to put that challenge out there again. Show me one victim by Bill Cosby whom, after vetting that victim's story, that story is believable. Show me one solid victim, or another way to phrase it, show me one victim who has a solid claim. And I wasn't able to find any. I listened to all the 60 women who've come forward. A lot of those stories were absolute nonsense. For example, some of the stories were women who were actually paying for a sexual relationship. Other stories were from women who were drug addicts, and yet other stories were ridiculous stories where they say Bill Cosby tried to kiss me, and they're basically trying to say kissing someone or attempting to kiss someone is sexual assault. No, idiot, that's not sexual assault. That's you turning down somebody who likes you, right? So I'm throwing this challenge out there. Show me one victim who has a solid allegation against Bill Cosby. I don't think you're going to find one. I wasn't able to find one. I listened to many of the stories of the women who came forward. Every single one of them were nonsense. And to prove this to you, we're going to look at the background of the allegation with Victoria Valentino, and I'm going to show you why my personal belief that she's lying, and my personal belief she's a fraud. And after really thinking about this, I think there's some type of agenda here. Dare I say satanic agenda? And I'm just using the word satanic just to indicate that these people are evil and malicious. Evil and malicious. Now, I can't really unravel why they came at Bill Cosby so hard. There's lots of allegations out there, and I'm not even going to pick one of those theories, but I'm just going to show you that many of these stories are nonsense. And you would have to be a fool, an absolute fool, to believe that any of these stories are solid. And yeah, you just have to be an idiot to believe any of these stories are solid. And again, I need women to share this video. If you're a woman, I need you to share the video. I need you to comment on the video. Uh, I'm one who has no problem admitting that I'm wrong. I'm one who has no problem admitting that what I said was off. But if you're a woman, I need you to comment below. If you're a woman, I need your help. Comment below and share this video with other women. And please correct me if I'm wrong. If I am wrong, please correct me. I beg you to correct me and put me on the right course. But I don't think you're going to be able to correct me, because everything I'm going to show you is the truth and nothing more, based off the information that I find, right? So who is Victoria Valentino? When you listen to the media, they're going to try to paint this innocent picture of this European Playboy bunny model. That's the picture that they're going to try to portray, right? So let's read some of this. We really shouldn't, but we're going to read some of it because this is the image that they're trying to paint. This is what they wanted you to believe. Victoria Valentino, 77, was raised in Connecticut, but moved to California the summer after she graduated high school. She joined a folk group and married a man from Cuba. The couple had a son, Tony. Together, Victoria's husband was an aspiring photographer and took snaps of her to send to Playboy. I'm sorry. In September 1963. So September 1963, this man is convicted over something that happened way back then, right? In 2015, this man is tried and convicted of some nonsense. She's a senior citizen now. She probably don't even remember half the things that happened back then. But we as a society, we allow this nonsense to go on, right? Oh my God, what happened here? Okay, so the then 19-year-old was chosen as a playmate of the month. She was introduced to the glamorous LA scene, recording album, and auditioning for acting gigs, right? And then it goes on. She returned to Playboy and helped open original Playboy Club on Sunset Strip in 1964. 5 years later, her son dies in a swimming pool accident, right? So I'm not going to read all this. They're painting a picture as if she is a classy lady, and they're painting this picture as if she wasn't out there selling her booty, right? That's the picture they're trying to paint. But when you listen to this story, You'll find out as she tells her story who this woman actually is. Let's get into it, right? What has she accused Bill Cosby of? Listen to the story. And most importantly, listen to the subtext, which is the things that are not said, right? Victoria claims Cosby drugged her and violated her at his flat. 3 months later, after her son died, she was introduced to comedian Cosby through a pal. The plan was to get a role on his show, I Spy. That's what they're selling. That's what they want you to believe. She came out to get a role on his show, right? That's what they want you to believe, right? Then it goes on. And see, this is where they mess up. This is where they mess up because the intelligent person is going to see this for what it is. Cosby is said to have paid for Victoria, right? And Meg Foster, to spend the day relaxing at a spa before sending a limo to take them to dinner. I'm going to read this again. And hopefully you as the viewer are not stupid. Hopefully you as the viewer are not naive. And hopefully you as the viewer who is watching this video is not silly. And if you are, I'm going to break it down to you. Let's read it again. Cosby is said to have paid for Victoria and Meg Foster to spend the day relaxing at a spa before sending a limo to take them to dinner. Let's stop right here, because that one little phrase, one minor, small little paragraph says a lot. But you have to read in between the text, or you have to read the subtext to understand. This man is paying a Playboy bunny to come and spend the evening with them, to spend the afternoon, right? He's paying a Playboy bunny to spend the day relaxing at his spa. He's paying. Do I need to really spell this out to you? Really? Are we that stupid? Are we morons? Do we not understand what's going on here? Bill Cosby paid a Playboy bunny to spend the day relaxing at a spa. Now, first off, let me explain to you what Playboy bunnies are. A Playboy bunny is someone who sells sex. That's right. A Playboy bunny is selling sex. Now, they are either selling it on one or several levels. Either they are actually selling sex and it's done through a contract of entertainment, or they are selling sexual imagery, which means there's going to be a photo shoot where that Playboy bunny is naked, and that naked Playboy bunny is showing her body, and the person who's going to buy that magazine is a person who wants to engage in sexual fantasies with that Playboy bunny. Either they are acting out that sexual fantasy actively, or it's being played out in their subconscious and they don't even know it's being played out. But at the end of the day, a Playboy bunny is someone who is selling sex. That's all it is. Otherwise, it wouldn't be Playboy, right? Now, you can get into all this stuff. Oh, she's just showing her body, and the body is beautiful, it's classy. Heifer, you selling sex. That's all it is. But in this case, Bill Cosby, who probably have seen her Playboy photo shoots, which they're not going to show us here. They're not going to show us that. They're not going to show us. Oh, how do I get out of this? Let me see what's actually in this photo shoot. They're not going to show us the Playboy bunny photo shoot of Victoria Valentino. They're not going to show us that. Instead, they're going to show us these images of an aged old woman in a respectful tone. They're not going to show us the disrespectful photos of her. They're not going to show us the disrespectful photos of her with her legs wide open or her bending over through the Playboy Bunny shoot. They're not going to show us that. They're not going to show us her sex work. They're going to show you a woman who is aged, and it looks like she's aged well. And they're going to show you respectable photos. Most importantly, they're showing you respectable photos. That's what they're showing you. And they're trying to paint this image as if she was a innocent young lady. She was, in my personal opinion, she was selling sex. And not only was she selling sexual imagery, she was also selling her booty. But by booty, I want to say something a little bit more vulgar, but I'm just not going to do that right now, right? That's what she was selling. Because who else gets paid to come out to somebody's house? Come on. Come on, tell me who gets paid to come out to somebody's house? Well, the first thing I can think of is that you're going to probably pay a painter to come out to your house to paint your house. Or you're going to pay a roofer to come out and repair your roof. Or you would pay a maid to come out and clean your house. But no, what she's telling you, what she wants you to believe, she thinks you're stupid. And the Sun magazine and the media in general thinks you're stupid. And they're telling you that she's getting paid to come out and spend the day relaxing at a spa. That's what she's being paid for. Now, I ask you, are you really stupid enough to believe that? Are you stupid enough to believe that somebody is going to pay a person to come out and relax? Comments below. Comments below. If you're a lady, I want to hear your take on that. And it's always funny how some people try to justify someone being paid for something like this. And, you know, actually, I call people like that morons, but I'm not. If you comment below, I wouldn't call you a moron. I just want to hear your perspective. I want to hear the justification of someone who believes that she's actually coming out to be paid to relax. She's not adding any value. Now, what you have to understand is the way the universe works, right? I'm not the way the world, I'm not even going to say the world. I'm not going to say the United States. I'm going to say the way the universe works. The universal law says that in order for you to receive something, you have to give something in return. That's the way the world works. And she's receiving money. She's receiving pay. And are you silly or stupid enough to believe? And you know, I'm not even going to say that. Are you naive enough to believe that she's coming and the only thing she's giving in return is to relax? Come on. Come on now. You can't be that stupid. Or you can't, I'm sorry, you can't be that naive. You cannot be that naive. But anyway, let's move on. Then it goes on. Victoria felt like a third wheel, and her and Megan were allegedly offered a red pill by Cosby to make them feel better. Let me read that again. Victoria felt like a third wheel, and her and Megan were allegedly offered a red pill by Cosby to make them feel better. Okay, so they were taking drugs. That's what that was. They were taking drugs. And people, you really have to listen to these stories and you have to think about what they're saying. They're trying to paint a picture for you, but the reality bleeds in, and it's hard for them to paint the innocent picture that they want you to believe, because reality is bleeding through. Heifer, you were taking drugs. You're being paid for your booty, and you're coming out to get high and have sex. That's what that is. And you have to understand that this is what celebrities do. You have to understand this is not only what celebrities do, but this is what people who have money do, right? They want to live their best life. They want to um, take drugs, and they want to have sex, plain and simple. And people have a right to do that. White people have a right to do this, and black men or black people have a right to do this. But the problem is when Hugh Hefner does this, he's called a playboy. But when Bill Cosby does this, he's called a violator. When a black man does this, he's scum. He's a piece of trash. He's a violator. He's a vapist. Right? But when Hugh Hefner does it, he's a playboy. This is 100% BS. This is 100% nonsense. And people, you have to understand, and you have to see this for what it is. If you're coming out to a stranger, even your mama, you learn when you were a kid not to take candy from a stranger. So how in the world are you going to take a pill from a stranger? Then when you read the paragraph, she doesn't pretend that it was aspirin. She doesn't pretend that it was some harmless over-the-counter drug. She basically says she's taking a pill to make her feel better. Well, in this day and time, people take ecstasy to feel better. In this day and time, people take marijuana to feel better, right? Who knows what they were taking back then, because it was the 60s and they were into all types of crazy things because the drug market wasn't highly regulated. So who knows what they were taking? But you have to understand that she, number one, in my personal opinion, from reading this article, she was paid to come over there to have sex. So she consented to that. Number two, she consented to taking drugs. He offered a pill, he offered her a party favor, and she took it. So she consented, in my personal opinion, based off this article, the way it reads, she was paid to come and have sex. She sold her booty, and she consented to taking drugs. If you don't believe she was paid to have sex, comment below, especially if you're a woman. I want to hear from you. If you don't believe that she consented to taking drugs, comments below. I want to hear from you, especially if you're a woman. And then it goes on. This caused the woman to become lethargic, struggling to keep their heads from bouncing off plates. Yeah, whatever. The comedian then drove the woman to his apartment, where he assaulted Victoria twice as her friend lay unconscious, the 26-year-old Playboy bunny claims. Nah, Heifer, he didn't assault you. He just basically did what he got what he paid for. And that's the way I see it. If you don't see it that way, again, I want to hear from you. If you're a woman, I want to hear from you. Questions and comments below. I want to hear from you. And then it goes on. She alleged Cosby forced her to perform an act on him as Megan lay unconscious. I don't believe that. I simply do not believe he forced you to do anything, right? Because if he forced you, and you truly believe he forced you, right? Because now you have to understand that this story has shifted. Because we talk about, well, we heard different allegations when it came down to Cosby. The predominant allegation is that he drugged and assaulted, right? Now the allegation is that he forced. And they simply leave it to our imagination. They want us to believe that he forced her. But they don't give us any details on how he forced her, right? Did he twist your arm? Did he beat you? Did he put a gun to your head? Give us the details. Explain exactly how he forced you? There's no details because the force never happened. You willingly performed the act because you were paid to do so. And now that you're having seller's remorse, or because of some other agenda, you're coming out and you want to accuse this man of assault. Comments below if you disagree. Comments below if you think I'm wrong. Comments below if you think I'm insensitive. Comments below if you think what I'm saying is off course. Comments below if you think I have this all wrong. Then it goes on. In November 2014, she came forward. So this goes from, when did this happen? They don't tell us exactly when this happened, but we know it's in the 60s. So you go from the 60s to almost 54 years later. You're coming to tell us about something that happened 54 years later. And you look at this woman and you have to ask if, number one, you have to look at both of them, not just her, and you have to look at her and Cosby, and you have to ask if they're remembering the details correctly. Because we all know that, we age, and when we age, our mind goes, right? And you have to wonder if she's just senile, right? Because you would have to be senile to believe any of this nonsense that they're trying to get us to believe, right? Then it goes on. Speaking to the Sunday Mirror in July 2015, Victoria said, Cosby ruined my life. He assaulted me and he made me depressed. Yeah. Right. He ruined your life by paying for your booty, and he ruined your life when you agreed to take drugs, and he ruined your life when you agreed to perform an act on him. Let me tell you something. If you believe that her life was ruined, then the only person you have to blame for that is her, because she chose to sell her booty, she chose to take drugs, and she chose, way before she took the drugs, to perform the sex act. So that's going to be it for this video. Again, if you're a woman, I really want to get your feedback on this. I really want to hear your thoughts on this. And I really want you to share this video so that other women can comment on this, right? Because I think overwhelmingly, men are going to basically agree with me, right? If I'm wrong on that, and if you're a man and you see something wrong with what I said, definitely comments below. Definitely. That's it for this video. Please like, share, and subscribe.